Hey guys, what's up? Um, just wanted to take a few minutes to talk about the new album I just released. Um, it's called Day to Night in 5 Minutes, and it's kind of, I guess, the follow-up to my first one, which was called Parallel Synchronized Randomness. I pretty much started working on this second album pretty much immediately after releasing the first, and like, I guess one of the main things that I wanted to do for this second album was to actually make it follow some sort of structure or general outline kind of format, because well, I mean, the first album that I released, it was pretty disorganized. That's part of the reason why I called it, Parallel Synchronized Randomness, because it really was just kind of a collection of a lot of random tracks that I'd been working on over the past, over the previous year, really. So, yeah, I kind of just threw them all together, and, they did kind of follow, there was a meaningful order, basically, is what I'm trying to say, but nonetheless, it wasn't as structured as I would have liked it to be, so yeah, that was one of the first things I was keeping in mind making the second album. So yeah, I started with kind of a basic outline for it. It was pretty much, I had an intro song, and 4 songs after that, kind of a transitional one, and then another 4 songs, and I don't know, that just seemed like a good structure to follow. The album is called Day to Night in 5 Minutes because it kind of goes through a day in my everyday life, basically. The first song is kind of meant to be it kind of marks the period, right after you get out of work, and maybe for me, I work a lot of shifts that are till 4 or 5 p.m. So you get out of work, and then your night kind of starts, and you're thinking about what you want to do for that day. And I don't know, for me, I never really plan anything, so every day is kind of an adventure in its own way. But yeah, so I start with that, and then I kind of move into the next tracks, which is kind of actually getting things moving, starting to put things into place. Yeah, it's difficult to explain exactly what I was going for with this, as it is personal, I guess. But yeah, basically, just as a general overview, it goes through a day in my life well, technically it goes from night to day, but that didn't really sound very good, so I just called it Day to Night. Yeah, there was a lot of thought that really went into what songs I wanted to put, basically the order of the songs in general. There's a lot of thought that went into that, and the thing that I did differently for this album was that I recorded almost all, actually, yeah, I did. I recorded every single one of the songs within either 1 to 2 days time, because it's not that I wanted to rush the album, really, even though I did finish it pretty quickly in comparison to the first one, but it was more so, I guess I was kind of going after a similar thing to what Radiohead was going for with the King of Limbs album. It was sort of a transitional album, going from, because the first album that I released was just, it really did take a lot of time to come up with all those songs, and there was a lot of meaning behind all of them, even though they're instrumental. I mean, if you ask me what a song is about that I've written, even if it's instrumental, I can give you a pretty detailed description, just because, I don't know. I guess music speaks to me in that way. It doesn't necessarily need to have lyrics. And that's part of the reason why I really love instrumental music. Yeah, so, yeah, 1 to 2 days time, that was pretty much the recording time for every one of the songs. And yeah, what I was saying about with the Radiohead thing, with the King of Limbs album that they released, they said that they really wanted to kind of capture the essence of the moment in which they were, recording the album, and seeing how it was a transitional album. It wasn't nearly as grandly produced as maybe In Rainbows might have been. And I'm not at all saying that, I don't like King of Limbs, I love that album, but yeah, I was just going for a similar kind of thing where, each song, I would basically just wait for the right day to record each song, and then, maybe I'll wake up one morning and just be like, I have this really good idea, kind of like hear a little, riff in my head or whatever, and then I just kind of built off of that, and that seemed to work really well, actually. There was never like a period where I was stuck with anything. It was very natural, very naturally flowing, I guess, for the whole process, which was a lot different than what I was used to, actually. Because before I would spend maybe even like months on a single song, even if it was just an wow, I can't talk today. Even if it was just an instrumental, I would spend, tons of time on it, just because, with no words in there for people to identify with, I really just had to be able to identify with my own works, and I kind of put the, well, I guess in a way I put the listener second, which, I mean, I don't know, I'm kind of doing all this music stuff for really my own purposes, so yeah, it wasn't really as much geared toward a listening audience, though I can't really say the first one was either. I don't know, I kind of think that maybe the way that we listen to music, there's multiple ways that music can be listened to, really. Like, for instance, if you're going out to a club or something, people want to hear music, well, generally at least, they want to hear music that, they know and that other people know, because, when you're out having fun, you just want to kind of relax, not have to think too much, and just kind of, do what everyone else is doing. So, I don't know. Not saying that I go to clubs at all, really, but, yeah. The second way to listen to music is for kind of a learning purpose, whether it be for furthering your own musical knowledge, I guess, or really just to learn about the person or people who wrote the song, and it's not that I'm expecting you to be like, oh, hey, this guy's interesting, I think I'll listen to his music to learn about his life, like, because I'm really that interested in what this guy's doing every day. That's not really what I mean. It's more just, I don't know. Can't really explain what I'm trying to say here. But, yeah, hopefully you get the gist of what I was trying to explain. What else did I want to talk about? Yeah, so I finished this second album in about, I'm pretty sure it was about 2.5 months, so, really different to have everything come together so quickly. And maybe it was just because, you know, I had already done one album, you know, as basic and rudimentary as it was. I guess it helped me establish kind of a general structure as well as a path for, you know, where I want to go with my later projects. Yeah, I remember, I think in the video that I recorded for my first album, the one where I was, you know, just talking like this one, I think I said that the next thing I was going to be working on was, like, you know, a more vocal-centered album. And, you know, I would have started that right after the first one, but for some reason the time just didn't seem right. It was, I mean, I'm not trying to say that my album is in any way, that my first album in any way was comparable to In Rainbows, but for me it was like, you know, it took a lot of work to do that first album, and for me to just immediately jump into, you know, some other huge work, especially something like, you know, writing a whole album with lyrics and all that, there was just no way that was going to happen. And yet I had all this music in my head that I had to get out, that, you know, I really, as I was writing it, I was thinking, you know, well, I could probably put lyrics to these, you know, if I just spent a little more time with it. But I mean, as I started to try that, it just didn't seem to fit with, you know, the theme that I was going for, my own personal goals for the album. It just didn't seem right for it to have lyrics, so that's why I kept it instrumental. Yeah, I mean, you think with doing all these song covers and stuff, and doing all this singing, that it wouldn't really be that hard for me to, you know, throw some lyrics together, but it really is. And I really don't know why, even. It seems kind of like almost like a barrier, or something that I haven't quite yet, or maybe I just don't have the basic framework for how I'm supposed to, you know, write a song with lyrics and such. You know, because if you were to, let's say you play a song that I'd never heard of that does have lyrics, you take the lyrics out, like, if you do that, I can almost always, you know, come up with some random lyrics on the spot, give them a melody, and it seems to work fine. But it's completely different when you're working with something that you've written yourself, that might not have been intended to be, you know, coupled with lyrics from the start. I feel like most songs with lyrics are a little bit more formulaic than what I would be used to working with. I mean, I do follow a certain formula for songs, especially the electronic ones, since I'm so limited in my, you know, in the technology that I'm using to record this album. It really works out well to follow kind of a certain formula with the looping of the, you know, guitar and the drum beats, etc. I follow kind of a similar format to what is accepted, you know, in like, you know, popular music, whatever you want to call it. But, you know, I'm kind of trying to take it in a different direction. Let's see. I guess I haven't really talked much about the content of the album itself, so basically, like the first album, everything was recorded just using microphone, my laptop, and my Korg K oscillator, which is just a the technical name for it is a dynamic phrase synthesizer, I believe. but you know, it's basically just a little box, uh, and you can store loops on 4 different buttons. You can like you can overlap loops, things like that. It's got preloaded like drum beats and other, you know, different kinds of synthy electronic instruments. So yeah, I'm pretty much just, I would start with a drum beat on the K oscillator, you know. Usually make it let's see. I don't know. I don't know what I was trying to say. But yeah, I would start with a drum beat, and then I would kind of just start building different guitar loops that could fit over it, and it's really nice working with the K oscillator because, you know, you got the drum beat, it's constantly looping over and over again. Then I can just hit record, press the other loop button, record something. If it doesn't come out, then it's just as easy as, you know, erasing it and doing something new. So I think that was really a great tool in making this album. And I tried to make it as varied as possible using what I had. I definitely used a lot more looping than I normally would, mainly because it's kind of an easier formula to follow, and it's not that I was trying to take the easy way out, it's just, you know, what I happened to be into at the time. Yeah, so pretty much most of what you'll be hearing is actually guitar loops, and I did use some of the K oscillators. It has a little section for vocal effects, but I decided to plug guitar into that and see what I could come up with, and they actually came out really cool, I thought. You know, I was basically going for a really spacey, kind of alternative, trance kind of sound, I guess. I don't really know. You know, I could come up with some crazy name for what genre I feel it's in, but chances are people would just, you know, try to come up with their own opinions of that, so I'm not even going to bother, really. Yeah, I just wanted I wanted it to have kind of an ambient feel, and I wanted it to sound full, though I'm not really sure if I accomplished that in the way that I wanted to, but nevertheless, you know, I'm happy with how it came out and everything. And this might sound weird, I don't really know what other musicians do, but, you know, when I write a song and after I'm finished with it, I literally listen to it over and over again. You know, just, I've listened to my album probably, I'd say at least 50 times all the way through. And maybe, you know, I can't really decide if I'm kind of just becoming immersed in my own work and, you know, what it means to me to have actually completed something, or I guess in a way I'm also trying to just, you know, really know the songs that I made in and out, you know them like the back of my hand, and just really figure out what they mean to me, because that's like, that's the thing that, you know, popular music lacks, for the most part at least. You know, I hear songs on the radio that are just like wow. There's a time for pop music, I guess, but I don't feel that it's something that you should just, you know, that should be as far as you take music, the pop level. It's like, you didn't even really try if you're just listening to that. You're just, you know, you're listening to what's being broadcasted on and on the air, what's, you know, basically around you at all times just needs to be picked up by a receiver. Like, that's not really going to any great length to try and discover, you know, new genres or anything like that. And, you know, maybe for some people that's just not their thing, and I guess that's completely understandable. I mean, it's no different than me not having an interest in mathematics, really, you know. I could be studying it more, but I just simply choose not to. So, I guess I can't really say anything about people who don't pursue music, you know, further than that, but to me, it just doesn't even, it's like mind-blowing, because, I don't know, I think there's music for everyone, or at least there should be, and for someone to say, you know, they're not really into music, that's just, to me, it's like not being into life or something. It just doesn't click, but who knows. Wow. Yeah, so what was I saying? I was saying that popular music is lacking in terms of, you know, meaning, really. You know, that's why I love indie music, is because, you know, there's just so much more meaning in the lyrics. The lyrics are, you know, poetic in many cases, at least. Whereas with popular music, they just kind of go off of these vague ideas and that don't really mean anything. These kind of general statements that could apply to anyone, really. Yeah. Sorry, I just keep getting distracted because I'm wondering how much time I have left on this memory card. I got about 4 minutes. Alright. I have to make this quick. Alright, so I don't know how I got on this tangent, but I'm going to keep going with it. So, wow, I must seem super spaced out right now. Yeah, okay, so I heard a song on the radio a few days ago, and it was like, it's on the subway radio. Yeah, I work at Subway, it's great. No, it's not. But, yeah, I just listened to some of the lyrics of these songs, and one of them that I recall just kept repeating the line, "We all have a story to tell," over and over again. Like, it seemed never ending. I was just like, when is this song gonna be over? And I'm like, oh, great. I'm just like, we all have a story to tell. Okay, so music is supposed to be the outlet for the storytelling, so for an artist to just tell me, we all have a story to tell, that's their grand lyrics that they came up with, like, okay, well, what's your story? It's like, isn't that what a musician's supposed to do? Yeah, I don't know. I have major issues with pop music, and I'm pretty sure I can defend my opinions pretty well, though maybe I'm completely wrong, but, you know, if you want to debate it with me, you can go ahead and try if you really care to. So, yeah, to wrap this all up, I hope you will take some time to check out my second album. You know, obviously these albums are in their early stages. I'm in my early stages as a musician, really. You know, the music theory and all the stuff that I know is pretty much solely derived from listening to music. Like, I have no experience. I've never been really taught by anyone. Kind of just did whatever I felt like. So, yeah. Hopefully you enjoy the second album, and maybe if you haven't checked out the first one, you can go ahead and give that a look. But, yeah. If you would do that, I would really appreciate it. But, of course, that's up to you. But, anyway, I'll see you guys later, and I'll get some more videos out there for you soon. Peace.